What's up, everyone? Jared here, Talk Shop Live, happening now.
Thank you. And with that, everyone, I was looking for that little red box that tells me that we are, in fact, live. And I'm so thankful that I've got the man behind the curtain, Brendan Quinn, to keep me straight and remind me that we are, in fact, live. I love doing this, man. Jared, it's imposed upon you to introduce yourself to the fine folks out there.
Absolutely. What is going on, everyone? My name's Jared James Nichols. If you're not familiar, I'm originally from Wisconsin. I am a blues rock singer, songwriter, guitar player. And yes, I am releasing my brand new record, Louder Than Fate, via Frontiers Records. This record comes out on June 5th. I'm so happy to be on Talk Shop Live. We have the signed copies you're available to get, and it's going to be great. I'm so glad to talk to you, Steve, because I know last time I was on here, we had a fantastic conversation. And it was just a blast, man. So happy to be here.
Hey, really appreciate it, man. You did your homework. I don't even know. I'm glad I kept my paper out, man, because I don't know if I should keep the day job. You got all the bases covered. I'm pretty impressed.
Well, thanks, man. I'm trying to be like you.
You're a good man. And I'll tell you what, everybody, just want to remind everyone that that we are here, gathered here today to celebrate just an incredible force of nature. And that, of course, is one Jared James Nichols. And as he said, this incredible record comes out on the 5th. With that, everyone, buckle up. Let's kick the show off. Brendan, if you would, please roll the video.
Thank you, Steve. You made it very easy for me.
How's everyone doing on Instagram? You can seeing this right now on my YouTube, Facebook.
Man, I was revved up before we rolled that video. Now I'm at the level of 12. Why? Because it's one more than Nigel.
I'll take it.
Excellent. I'm Steve Harkins, your host for the Rock and Roll Channel and Talk Shop Live. Once again, please welcome to Talk Shop Live's Rock and Roll Channel, a force of nature, truly, the phenomenal Jared James Nichols. Jared, man, thanks so much for coming back here. I can't believe I went back to look when we last got together, man. It's been 3.5 years since your first appearance here.
It's crazy. I can just say, where does the time go? It doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but now when I'm sitting here talking to you, I feel like it has, because a lot has happened since then for me and for, the world, everything. So yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah, it was, but it flew by, as you said. And where do we find you this fine evening?
I'm actually in Nashville right now. I'm at a friend's studio. I took over his studio space to get on the computer. We were making some music, and I'm actually home, Nashville, Tennessee. Feels good.
I love it. So does that mean you're working on some new music and this album hasn't come out yet?
Hey, I'm always working on new music. I think when we talked last, I was already probably working on the record, writing the songs. I just can't stop. I just love it so much that whenever I have any time that I don't have to be doing something in the moment, I'm thinking forward for music. I'm always thinking about something different.
I'll tell you what, that's good news for us fans. And speaking of fans, if you'd like to ask Jared a question or you have a comment, use the chat function. We'll get to as many as possible. I'm not sure I told you this 3.5 years ago, but if it's redundant, it's okay, because it's important to bring this up. But, Jared, your profession, they correlate you as an entertainer. You entertain us, but at the end of the day, I would say, especially in this day and age of somewhat contentious times, man, you provide such an important function. I'd say the one common thread that we have these days that brings people together is music. And so thankful that you do what you do. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that for me, not only does it bring people together, it keeps me sane. So for me to be able to play music and for me to be able to share what I'm feeling inside through the guitar, through these songs, and just connect with people in a way that I think when words kind of stop That's where the music takes over. And I'm so fortunate and lucky to go all over the world playing music. I mean, all over, everywhere I go with the guitar in my hands. I feel like no matter if I can speak the language or not, I
Yeah.
have a connection. And that's a beautiful thing.
It really is a beautiful thing, man. We need more of it. We need to double down on it. And that's why I'm so excited with this new record. But brother, I got to digress for a second. You know, I pride myself on doing my homework when it comes to listening to music and my observations. I give myself a C minus on fact checking. So throw me under the bus if I got this wrong. But did you, in fact, grow up in East Troy, Wisconsin?
I did. Yes, I did. That is 100% correct.
I love that because, you know, man, I grew up in Chicago and I spent so much quality time in your town at the legendary Alpine Valley, which is also mind blowing to think that it's approaching 50 years. And I know it's tied to the great loss of Stevie Ray Vaughan, but it really has and continues to feature so many amazing shows. So, of course, I have to ask you, did you spend some quality time there?
So check this out. Not only did I spend quality time there, I grew up on the same street. I grew up
No
less than a
way.
mile away. Yes. So from the time I was born in 89,
Yeah.
my parents were building the house. My parents remember the day that Stevie died,
Oh,
and they remember the corners passing the house, going to the hill. It's
yeah.
so crazy because my whole childhood was spent hearing those bands at Alpine. We would sit outside at night and we could listen to the music. You could
That's
sometimes,
amazing.
yeah, you could sometimes even see the lights. Some of my earliest memories, Steve,
Yeah.
I was a little entrepreneur. We would sell water and soda. Like we would get Jolly Good soda, which was like 30 cents each. And I was
Yeah.
a kid. And when the Grateful Dead would come through, the
Yep.
line for traffic would be so long. It would be 7, 8, 9 miles long. And my mom, she was like an old hippie. She
Yeah.
would let them camp in our yard if somebody needed to use the bathroom, whatever.
That
And then
is
I would be
great.
out there hustling, selling sodas. And then
I
my
love
first
that.
shows ever were at Alpine. I mean, I saw everyone from ZZ Top to Ozzy to Black Sabbath to, I mean, countless shows, Fish, Grateful Dead, Allman Brothers. I mean, all of it. I busted my, like my whole youth was at Alpine.
Yeah, you know, my only gripe about East Troy was I wasn't a big fan of the street signs. I'm still trying to figure it out to this day, man. There's just a bunch of letters and numbers. You know, once you kind of got, into the farmland, I
Yeah.
guess you would refer to it as farmland. But basically late at night, not many street lights. In fact, I don't think there were any street lights, and there was no GPS either. And I'm thankful I found my way home every single night. And by the way, you could have made a fortune off of me if you were selling markers to remind me where I parked my car at
Oh,
Alpine
yeah.
Valley.
People would go to I remember we used to go to the shows and we would just hang out in the parking lot. So by
Yeah,
the time I was old enough, we wouldn't even know who was playing, whether it was Jimmy Buffett or whoever. And it was like, oh, we're just gonna go hang in the parking lot because it was so much fun. And yet again, like you said, with that community thing, with the connection
yeah,
with music, going to those shows at Alpine when I at a young age, it showed me the power of music and how much of like these people, especially like with the Grateful Dead or Fish, how they
yeah.
would travel together. And it was just like the power of music was so connected.
Absolutely, and it was kind of like an oasis again, Alpine Valley, kind of in the middle of, just, I mean, a lot of wonderful people, but, fairly
Mhm.
rural area.
Yeah, so my first job was baling hay. So it's very rural. And I
Yeah.
remember when I picked up the guitar, I was about 15 years old. Everyone said right away, "Oh, do you know Stevie Ray Vaughan?" And of course, I knew the lore of Stevie Ray Vaughan and everything. But then when I figured out who he was, and it just like spoke to me, I would go up to Alpine when it was closed on the memorial as a kid from the time I was 15, 16, 17, and 18. And I would go on the stage. I would break in the back, Steve, and I'd
Yeah,
go up there with my guitar and I'd just play my guitar, unplugged. And it was a cool thing because I think that I don't know, there's definitely some serious vibes in the air there
you're
of
right.
amazing music and Stevie being one of those artists.
Well, okay, I just upped my grade from a C minus to a C plus or B minus. Yeah, I'm
You
so
did.
grateful I got that right, and it explains a lot knowing your upbringing and your surroundings, that, we're here tonight talking about this, great album, and congratulations, man, on delivering truly an amazing effort. I mean, this new album, Louder Than Fate, I have to ask the question, but I have a pretty good idea. I know what the answer is, but how does it feel to deliver this one to the world?
Feels great. It's a new
Yeah.
step forward for me.
Yeah.
You know, my previous releases, I was so just pushed to play as hard as I could and to kind of prove a point. With this
Yeah.
record, it felt as if I had something to say, and I wanted to say it in a lot of different ways. I wanted to show a lot more of an openness to who I am as an artist, as a songwriter. I think it's really important to not close any doors or not try and open them. So with this record, I mean, I did a lot of things I've never done before in the studio. I
Right.
mean, when it came down to instrumentation, you know, we have on the song Killin' Time, we added strings to that song. I'm playing
Yeah.
a lot of acoustic guitar on this record.
Yeah.
We have Rami from the Foo Fighters playing keyboards on Bending or Breaking. I mean, the amount of chances I took on this record, there was a lot of points where I was uncomfortable. And then I'm so happy now that I did, because it's like I was able to open up a whole nother side that I hadn't recorded. And
Yeah.
it just feels great to have that kind of now released, and I feel like, okay, cool, it's out, you know, it's off my shoulders.
You know, they say sometimes magic happens when you're pushed outside your comfort zone. You know, the bar's raised a little bit. Was that a function of the guys that you work with, the producers, Jay Ruston and Roger Nichols, both of whom bring interesting backgrounds and kind of diverse range of artists that they work with, which also kind of explains, you know, diversity of the record.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it came to working with
Yeah.
Jay Ruston and I did one song together. It was called Threw Me to the Wolves. And we put that out in 2020. And I remembered that I always wanted to work with Jay more. We have such a great relationship. He isn't even, I can't even say he's not a guitar player. He doesn't play keyboards. He doesn't have anything like that going on, but he has huge ears as a producer. So we
Right.
would be sitting in the room and I would be playing something, and he would stop me and he'd go, hold on. What was that? That was really good. I don't like the next part. And he was very blunt about it. And he's worked with everyone from Anthrax. He's done amazing, amazing things with Stone Sour, a lot
Yeah.
of heavier bands. And Jay
Yeah.
brought
Oh,
this,
Panther.
yeah, Steel Panther. Jay brought this cool energy to the session of, it was almost like kind of like he just brought an extra heaviness to the record. We were able, and this is the coolest part. I was out in California with my band, and we were able to track all of those songs with Jay at 606 Studios, Dave Grohl's Foo Fighters studio. So we were
Yeah.
using a lot of the gear there, the board, the drums, the cabinets. I mean, it felt special recording those songs. So when you hear Pretend or Ghost or Running Hot or any of those songs, you're hearing that live room at 606 Studios. And it was just like the energy was off the charts. And
Yeah,
I
no
felt
doubt.
like that pushed us. And
Yeah.
then working with Roger, it was the same experience. Roger pushed me as an artist more than I think any other producer has, because he said, I know you have more to say and I want to hear it. So while we were working together, we wrote a ton of songs. We were digging deep. And I love Roger because he brought something out of me that I hadn't really experienced yet. And that was with Killin' Time. It was
Yeah.
with,
Great track.
yeah. And that track, I came in with that idea, and I almost felt like maybe it was a little too off topic or off, you know, color for me as an artist, because it was so emotional and it was so kind of dynamic. And I quickly realized that playing an acoustic guitar and singing just straight up, there's something about that where it reveals different shades of who you are. It's almost like you're naked playing. There's nowhere
Yeah.
to hide.
Yeah. No exposure.
Usually,
No
if I'm
exposure.
jamming, you know, big guitar, you know, I have my guitar, it's my sword. And with that song, it was very, very revealing. And ultimately, it brought out a whole new side that I'm so happy got recorded.
You know, I'm grateful to hear in both cases, with Jay and with Roger that, you know, you said they kind of pushed you, or, you know, they wanted to dig deep and or, you know, in the case of Jay, where he was just being blunt and saying, "Yeah, I love what you're doing," and fed off of it or had you feed off of it, but also
Mhm.
told you when he wasn't feeling it. And then Roger was digging deep with you. But in both cases, it wasn't like that Svengali effect where it's just like, "Okay, I've got this vision, and, you're going to be like this different image of a musician
Right.
than what you've been." They
Mhm.
just kind of pulled out of you, expanded your range, and got
Yeah.
the very best out of you, as opposed to shaping to something that you're not.
You know, it's funny as an artist, I feel like for the past 10 years, a decade before this record, I think a lot of artists, if anyone is tuning into this and they play, they're in a band, maybe this can kind of, you can feel this. A lot of times you sit there and you think to yourself, man, maybe I'm just not good enough, or I have to impress everyone, or who am I supposed to be? And I
Right.
think that that's something that's really hard to get past as an artist, because you have not only that imposter syndrome situation, but you start to say to yourself, what am I trying to say? And how can I say this in a
Right.
pure, direct way?
Right.
And with this record above any other record, I feel like me. And I feel like the songs and the vibe and the attitude. Jay and Roger, they didn't try and get in my way in a way where it made me uncomfortable in my own skin. Instead, they pushed me to say, Jared, do you and do the best you can and bring that out. And
Yep.
in turn, I didn't even think I was doing that. I was just having so much fun in the studio that it really came apparent after I listened to the record. I said, wow, man, I think I did it. I really did it. This one feels like me, you know?
I love it. And, I just want to be clear to fans too. Don't worry. The man rocks. There's some amazing riffs in here. This is not like a classical record, but it shows additional dimensions and top and that what makes it such a great record, because there's twists and turns, and you're going to hear me comment on that quite a bit. Very
Mhm.
interested in the songwriting, because it looks like you work with a number of different writers, and I suppose that also probably helped you in terms of your lens as to musically what direction
Mhm.
these songs would take. But can you share with us what the songwriting process was for you? Was it a consistent approach, or did it vary depending on who you worked with and when you were working on it?
So it varied a little bit. What it really came down to is I wanted to make a record as well that served as a template for the live show, where
Yeah,
any of these songs I could pick them up with the band while we're on tour, playing shows anywhere, and we could play them. So
yeah,
in the back of my mind, like you were saying, when it comes there, make no doubt, there's some ripping tracks. In the back of my mind, man, I wanted to make a record that just felt good and it felt like a party.
yeah,
And kicking off the song, Let's Go. That track was literally written solely to have that song where it's almost as if it's like, put the key in the ignition, turn that engine on, and let's rip it up. I wrote that song with a friend of mine, Keith Nelson, who was
yeah,
the primary guitar player and band leader for Buck Cherry for many, many years.
yep,
And we were together in his studio in LA, and he was like, Jared, he's like, just write a song that just feels like that, man. It just feels like, you could hear it in an arena if there was during sports, or, it just is like a total fire up song. So when
yeah,
I wrote a lot of these songs, a bunch of my friends, different songwriters I collaborated with, I always had this feeling where I imagined myself on stage, or I imagined myself with the guitar in my hands, playing in front of people, or maybe playing on a TV show, whatever it is, and having that feeling of, does it feel like me? Is the energy there? Does it feel like the band is firing on all cylinders? Because a lot of times with these tracks, besides Killin' Time and Show Me, we were already jamming these songs live, and we were already getting our kind of road tested on them, because ultimately, like I said, I wanted the record to serve as a template for the live show. And when I went
yep,
into the songwriting sessions, I said that to my friends. I was like, hey, I don't want to write stuff that feels too far away. It's like it's almost like every songwriting session I went in, and it was just fun. Like with Ghost, I wrote that with a great friend of mine, Tyler Bryant,
yeah.
who's an incredible producer, Grammy Award winning,
Larkin
amazing.
Poe,
Yes, I mean, he's a great friend of mine. We've been friends for years and years, and I
super
remember,
talented.
super talented. And I remember when we wrote that song, I showed up to Tyler's house. I went in his studio. He was already behind the drums, and he's back there going, bop, bop, doo, doo. And he looks at me and he just gives me like a, what's up? So I immediately grab a guitar and I start playing that riff. And it
Yeah,
was like songs were written in a way that just felt so organic, and it felt
yeah,
so like me, and just in the moment, and obviously fun. It was all about having fun while playing. So I didn't want to get into a record that was too serious. I just wanted to have a record that felt great.
I'll tell you what, it comes off that way, for sure. And, I just wanted to say that D. Lindau, 19, is saying, get this, Jared, hey, from East Troy.
Oh man,
We got
what's
East Troy
going
in the house.
on? East Troy represent. My family's still there. Everyone has to be careful when they go through East Troy and Walworth County because my brother's a sheriff there.
Is that
So
right?
yeah,
It
so you're gonna have to tell him I'm a JJN fan if you get pulled over. I'm just messing around. But yeah, hey from East Troy. Great. Thanks for tuning in.
Exalted Music Official saying hello, man, and appreciative that you're here. Also, Ampture Co. Guitar Works is saying good evening, and N8 Cousins is just so happy that you broke out the time here to do this. Let's see here. Caden Zephyr is saying my all-time favorite guitarist. Can't wait for the new album. And Ryan Full Dark Music is just saying, "What's up, man?" Lots of "what's up" and "what's up."
Everyone, what's up,
Three in a row.
everybody?
Yeah, 3 in a row on that one for sure, and a lot of guitar buffs too, which I love hearing that. And speaking of which, I want to say, let me be the first to say, because I'm taking liberties hosting the show, that you, Jared, are the first person ever, and I mean ever, that I have met that rescued a gold Gibson Les Paul from a tornado and named her Dorothy.
This is true, my friend. I wish I had that guitar here right now. I really wish I did to show you. Yes, that is my how do I say it? It's my desert island guitar. It's insane. I have to shout out, the quick story, because otherwise we could sit here for hours. A friend, I was on Instagram of all places. What's up, Instagram? I got Instagram going down here. And a gentleman named TJ Duckweiler reached out and he sent me a message with a picture and he said, "Hey, I know you love old Les Pauls. There was a tornado in my hometown in Illinois in 2013, I believe. And this landed in my yard. And it was a picture of a body of a Gibson Les Paul covered in mud and broken glass and debris." And he sent this to me. And me being like a guitar guy, it's almost like being a car guy. It's like if you see a car, a Chevelle, you know exactly what year it is based on the tail. You know. So I went, oh my gosh, that is an early 1952 Gold Top. So I sent him a message and I said, "Hey man, thanks for hitting me up. What are you doing with this guitar?" He said, "Oh, I might send it to Gibson to get it fixed. I don't know." And I said, "Well, did you figure out whose it was?" And he said, "Yes, we put an ad in the paper saying we found this guitar." And the owner's daughter, she came, she said, "Yeah, that was my father's guitar." She said, "It's broken." She already claimed it on her insurance. So she said, "Just keep it and hang it on your wall." So I talked to him. We had a bunch in common. And I said, "Hey, man, I can help you get it restored." I said, if you ever want to sell that guitar or, you want it to go to someone else, I would love to get it fixed up and play it. A few days later, he reaches out and he said, "Hey, I talked to my wife and we just want to give you the guitar."
Amazing.
And I was like, hold up. You can't give it to me because it's worth a lot of money just as it sits. I texted pictures to my friends, Joe Bonamassa, Zach Wild, Slash saw this thing. All these people saw this guitar. And
but you weren't sharing your buddy's contact information.
Oh, no.
That in your back pocket.
But everyone's like, where is that? So I drive up and I meet him and I see the guitar.
Where was it in Illinois? Do you remember?
It was in Illinois. It was in oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember. It's going to come to me. If anyone's on here that knows,
it's okay. There's a lot of towns that are small and not always memorable, but all good.
I can't. It'll come to me. But
we got time.
I went up and I met him and I saw the guitar. And the first thing I said, and the neck had been ripped off. The neck's gone. I looked at him. I said, "Does it work?" And he looks at me funny. He goes, "What do you mean, does it work?" I said, "Plug it in." So we plugged the guitar in, and I take a screwdriver and I tap the pickups, and it goes, and it works. It still worked. So I get the guitar, and there was a friend of mine who was in an amazing restoration. Like he would work on the rarest guitars in the world, 1959 Les Pauls. He would do things to guitars essentially bring them back, resurrect them. And he had clients from all over the world, celebrity clients. I hit him up and I told him the story. I said, listen, man, this guitar was in this tornado, all the above. And I said, I want to get it fixed up. And I said, I don't want it to be refinished, nothing like that. I said, but that I can tell there's something inside this guitar that is so special. I want to get a neck put on it, and I just want to play it. And the story was so fascinating to him, and I told him that I was going to name it Dorothy.
Yeah.
And this gentleman's name was Joel Wilkins, and Joel lived in Pennsylvania. And we would talk on the phone for hours because this guy was a genius. He was a genius with guitars, cars, and it was him, and it was his 3 dogs, and he lived in his shop. And he'd call me at 10 at night, and we'd talk till 2. Like, he was that kind of person. And everything he said, he was just so smart. So I told him the story, and he goes, did you know my dad worked on movies? Did you know my dad had movie memorabilia? I said, no, of course not. He goes, my dad owned the piano Somewhere Over the Rainbow was recorded on.
Oh my God.
And I went, what? He goes, I'm going to fix this guitar for you. He goes, and I'm going to do it because I feel like I need to do it. So long story short,
make this up.
He gets the guitar. I don't hear from Joel for like a month. And I'm like, is something wrong? I call him. I said, how's it going with the guitar? He goes, oh, I'm just looking at it. And I said, so you haven't done anything? He goes, no, not yet. I'm just getting to know the guitar. So I'm like, this is crazy. So a month later, he sends me a picture of a piece of wood. He goes, I found the exact grain match that would have been on this guitar. This piece of wood is from 1944. And I'm like, what? And then he goes, I found this piece of Brazilian rosewood. It's the exact grain structure. I'm going to book match grain for grain of what ripped off. So he went so far with this guitar that literally he found the grain from the same species. You know, it was insane.
And this is for the neck, right? For the fretboard.
Yes. So
incredible.
I'm back on the road. It's been almost a year. I say to Joel, I need this guitar, man. I need it. I got to play it. So we were near Pennsylvania where he lived.
Yeah.
And Joel was also paralyzed. So he drove a car, but he used the hand. All of his controls were with his hand. So he was paralyzed. So when he worked on the guitar, he had to work on it with like jigs, and everything was set up. So it was kind of hard for Joel to get around. I said, can I please come to your shop and pick this guitar up? And he said, I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to drive it there to you for sound check. So I'm on tour with John 5, who I love, incredible guitar player. And I'm sitting there like a little kid waiting for Christmas. He doesn't show up. I text him, where are you? He's like, oh, I had a problem. I couldn't get there. Okay, well, when can I see it? And then he goes, well, I'll bring it. I'll get there before your bus leaves at midnight. Didn't show up. The next day, he finally shows up at the next venue, right? And I see the guitar, and I could not believe it. It was so incredible what he did, but he said, I never plugged it in yet. So I run into the venue, and I plug in the guitar. I start to play this guitar. Everyone stops what they're doing. It was just so special. The guitar, the sound of it, it was just so pure, and it was so beautiful. And the best part about this story is Joel told me, and I'll stop rambling, but Joel told me that guitar was the best guitar and his most favorite thing that he's ever worked on out of all these guitars. And he said if there was one guitar that he had passion for, it was that guitar. And we share, and then through the years, Joel would send me random stuff like Dorothy slippers, or like whatever, little Wizard of Oz stuff. We'd send it back to each other, And then I remember I woke up, this was 2 years ago, and I got a text from Joel, one of Joel's family members, that he had passed away. And it was like losing one of my own family members.
Of course.
And that guitar and Joel means so much to me that now Joel is such a big part of that story. It was in Washington, Illinois. That's where the tornado.
Okay, great. Got it.
And people lost their lives through that tornado. And Joel thought that it was such a beautiful tribute to the people that had lost their lives, as well as the destruction from that tornado, that this guitar is still here playing music. And he poured a lot of himself in there. And I remember the day that I lost Joel, I said that this guitar now has such more, it's more powerful because now there's a piece of Joel in there. And it's just a beautiful thing, and it's a beautiful story. And, I miss my friend, and obviously you can't change that, but to have that guitar And to every time I pick it up, every single day, I'm talking to my friend. You know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah, man. It's like it's a beacon, or like you're carrying a torch, man. You're keeping his spirit alive, and for that matter, the people of Washington that sadly lost their lives. But here's something who survived, and it's living and breathing
oh yeah.
thanks to you.
And this guitar, I'm telling you, when you see it and when you hear it and when you're in the room with it, it's like you can't take your eyes off it. It's wild, and it's a beautiful instrument, and it's so fun to bring it around because I let people play it. I think that's a beautiful part. Like when I'm overseas, if I'm going to a guitar seminar or I have to go do things, it's one of the first Les Pauls ever made. So that in itself is rare. But then I'll meet a kid who I can see his eyes, and he's looking at this guitar, and he's can't believe that he's in the same room with it. And I'll literally go, "Here, man, play it." And I just love that.
They're going to be stunned, that you would actually turn it over to them. But that's what it's all about, right? It's sharing it.
It really is all about sharing it. And I think that I've said to a lot of people, I said, man, you're never going to play one earlier than this. But also, this guitar has been played probably by a lot of your heroes, and now you're going to play it. And I think that that's something that, if I can do anything to give back in a certain way, it's just a little thing to show guitar players that are coming up or people that have been playing their whole lives. It's
That's right.
Try this one. The power, you can feel it.
What an incredible story. Really appreciate you sharing that. It's just inspirational for sure.
Yeah.
And I just want to just share with everyone that, tonight we're celebrating the forthcoming release from one Jared James Nichols with an album that's entitled Louder Than Fate. And the man has delivered 10 brand new studio tracks, and he also has delivered a great rock record. It's diverse with some great twists and turns, no shortage of musical muscle coupled with melody, massive guitar work. Don't worry about that. Don't lose sleep yet. He serves the song, and it's a great showcase, I have to say, as well, as far as his range as a vocalist. And now the album's released on Friday, June 5th. However, Rock and Roll Channel fans on Talk Shop Live can purchase their copies right here, right now. And as you can tell, it's the first time you're hearing the gentleman speak, what his fabric is. He's been gracious enough to agree to sign a limited number of copies of this great rock and roll album for those who purchase it here on Talk Shop Live. To order your copies, hit the shop button on Talk Shop Live. If you're watching on Instagram or you happen to be on Facebook, just comment the word shop and we'll DM you a link. And if some of you are viewing this from YouTube, just click the link inside the description, and the rest is quick and easy. And there's no greater way to celebrate great music and show how much you appreciate this force of nature, the man known as Jared James Nichols. Man, let's get right into it. Let's go, man. High octane slash and rocker right out of the gate. I mean, to me, man, this is an instant classic anthem. Reminded me a little bit of the best of like the 80s Alice Cooper mixed in with the power fueled from that era. And having said that, it still sounds vital today. It doesn't sound dated.
Mm-hmm. I think that it's really important that I always wear my influences on my sleeve, like so many artists do. And I can't shake that. I can't hide from that. But what I can do is I can kind of flip it over and twist it around and mess it up and make it breathe my own air. So with a track like this, it feels familiar. It feels like right away you go, oh man, I've heard this riff. And then you go, yeah, but have you? Have you heard this riff? And it's my own take and it's my own spin. So that interpretation, I think, fueled with all those great influences, I feel like that's what pushes this music forward. And that track right there being one where it's called Let's Go. So like, that's not a track where for me as an artist, you just kind of wake up and go, all right, here's a song for you. That's one where it's like, all right, we're in. It's like 1, 2, let's go. So it's
0 to 100, I think.
Yeah, it's a 0 to 60 in a 3-second track.
Yeah, absolutely right. And let's say we share some music. You all right with that, Jared, with the fans?
Let's do it, brother. Yeah,
all right, man. Sounds great. Okay, from the forthcoming new album, Louder Than Fate, here's Ghost. Brendan, if you would, please roll the digital.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Jared, if you remember from the first show that we did, this is the part where I explain why I don't give up my home address, because fans get pissed at me for cutting off a great track. You know, they wouldn't do
Yeah.
any harm to me, maybe just slash my tires or something. I don't even think they
Egg
do
your
that, but
house, TP your house.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll tell you what, man, love this track. Hypnotic, some great musical twists and turns, as I was referring before. It's what's great about the songwriting and the production, a great dynamics, killer lead vocal,
Thanks,
man,
man.
and a solo that smokes. I highly recommend. If you maybe you thought this guy went mellow, just play this track. Share it with your neighbors, maybe at your local public library, for example. I think that'll send a
Yeah, I
message
love
out
that.
there. Yeah, real standout in my book, man.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, it's like I said, with that song, that was written with my buddy Tyler Bryant,
Yep.
and it's kind of cool because it's called Ghost, and it's kind of got this haunting thing to it, and like I really wanted to emphasize on that, and I really love the fact it feels like a little itchy when you're listening to it. It's almost got this factor of like somebody right behind you, so there's
Yeah.
really uneasiness to the track, and I
Yeah.
kind of digged into that, and with the guys when we were jamming on it, it's like we just went really hard and aggressive. One of my biggest heroes forever is Leslie West of Mountain. So whenever
Oh,
I play these heavy riffs, even this stuff that's real heavy, I often think like, what would Leslie do? So that when it's all those single notes, it's like bone crushing riffs, man. And I just love that.
I got to share with you. You know, my background is I worked in music wholesaling for years, and Leslie had reunited Mountain, which shows my age. And I got a call from him. The marketing companies had me on the list of, like, you know, people that maybe help influence sales. And he called me on my birthday, and we had a mutual friend, a guy that drummed in my first band. He actually lived with that family when he was in a band called the Vagrants before
Oh, the
Mountain,
Vagrants. Yeah, with
right?
his brother. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. And man, when I told him it was my birthday, Leslie was saying happy birthday to me. Now, he might have just gotten home from an all-night bender, you know, maybe 2 hours earlier, but man, I still wear that like a badge of honor. I'll never forget that. What a
Yeah.
talent that guy is, or was.
Yeah. He's kind of my North Star as far as like
Yeah,
rock and roll goes. And I think that he's a very much so unsung hero to rock and roll in general.
you're
And
right.
I always try and bring his name up, and Felix Pappalardi and Corky
Oh,
Lang and Steve Knight,
yeah.
because I think that original Mountain lineup, it's part of my DNA as a player and as an artist. There's just something very, very special about it that is very important in 2026 to continue to push.
I totally agree and appreciate that you're doing that, keeping the legacy alive. Way back, man, love this vibe. Tasty groove. Another one that spoke to me. Monster lead guitar work. Band is totally locked in, so tight. Great breaks. And, you know, the breaks breathe additional life into this great track. I always say that the mark of a great song is when you look at bridges or breaks and where
Mhm.
it goes, because sometimes it feels like to a songwriter, it's an obligation. So it can get a little lazy and maybe takes it down a notch. Not
Mhm.
in the case with this track for sure, man. And a great lyric to boot, kick it way back like a black Cadillac with the bucket seats laid way back, like an 8-track bumping some free, couple zigzags and a 6-pack, gonna crank it like Jimmy on a half stack, kick it way back. Great lyric.
Thanks, man. Yeah, this song, it was written with a few good friends of mine, and we were thinking about, this is the thing. Everyone always says to me, "Oh man, if you were there back in the day, if you were there back in the day, man. Oh, back in the day, it was this, it was this."
Yeah.
And I get that, and I think about it, and sometimes I go, "Man." And I remember I used to ask my dad when he was around, "Was it a lot simpler back then?" And he said, "Yeah, in a lot of ways it was. It was a little bit more free, and it was a little bit more, you weren't tethered to technology, you weren't tethered to certain things, and you weren't always available, right?" And I think
Right.
that there's something beautiful about that freedom. And I with this song, we were talking about it, and I was like, "Man, sometimes you just want to kick it way back, man. It's like, let's go back in time, man. Like a black Cadillac with the bucket seats laid way back. It's like with an 8-track bumping some
Yeah.
free." So it's just this kind of like sentiment of like your mindset. And I live like that a lot of my life, believe it or not, where sure, things could be a lot easier. I drive old cars. I like old guitars. I like old stuff, not because it's just old, but it brings me back to an era that I wasn't there for, but I'm surely inspired by. And it's a cool thing to kind of in your mindset, it's like, when the nights were long and we got along, I can't be the only one that wants to go way back. It's just an ode to like a freedom of like, man, let's just have a good time all the time.
I love that, and that's a great cue too, because one of the fans said Bill Dunnigan is saying you were an old soul,
Mhm.
JJ, and so there we go, man, right on cue for sure. And Glenn Howerton saying I always loved your cover of Never My Life Pure Bliss, and Leslie was a bad mother.
Yep.
So seconding
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Yeah, let's see here too. Purdy 91 is saying Leslie West reference, I'm sold.
Yep.
So, man, you're connecting with a lot of people. And got to call this one out. RJ Deechman saying, you're such an inspiration, brother. I've been a drum tech with Joe Bonamassa off and on since 2011. Thank you for everything.
Oh, that is awesome, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
great comments. I feel like there's so many people here. We share a lot of the same love and
Yeah.
respect and appreciation for all this classic, timeless music, man. It's awesome.
Absolutely, man. We could spend the whole night, I think, going through all love and appreciation. But most importantly, Antonio Thunderbottom is saying, Jared, I'm glad your hair is long again. And with that,
Yeah, I grew it back.
there we go, man. It can happen, and it did, man. Bending or breaking, special track, massive hook in the chorus. This is a common theme. Guitar solo, again, I mean, it's like the guitar can be showcased, but it's never because you're putting on a clinic. And this one, man, truly serves the song, and you could have easily overplayed it on the track. And to me, that's great discipline again, and thinking about not how am I going to come off, as a guitar god, but what's the right thing for the song, and that's exactly what you delivered.
Yeah, I think with the guitar, as much as I love it, I mean, I am obsessed, just like
Yeah,
many people with this music and with guitars. And one of the biggest things I think that I'm the most proud of on this record is I was able to get out of my own way. And I said to myself, what does the song need? Where do I need to take this for the song?
yeah,
Because in my previous releases that I love them, there was a lot of moments where I was thinking with my guitar hat on and everything wanted to run through that. It was almost like if we were digging for gold, the sluice box was the guitar. It's like, all right, if there's gold, it's right here.
that's
And
right.
I kind of went a little bit deeper here where I said to myself, how can I shape the guitar tones, the sounds, what I'm actually playing to serve that song and to have the most impact? And I think for Bending or Breaking, I did something on this track that I think a lot of people, when they hear it, they're going to go, wow, they can't believe. I almost went like Neil Sean. I love Neil. Shout out Neil. Neil is awesome. And, he's a buddy, but it's like I was
He
able
is awesome.
to layer some guitar parts, which I've never really done. And there's this whole middle section where it keeps building and it keeps building. And instead of going to my devices of let me just rip a big solo, I built this almost theatric thing where it was like it was like water is about to boil, it's about to go over, and then it cuts out. And
Yeah.
it's just this really cool thing that I've never really done on record that felt awesome. And I was able to pull from different influences using my guitar, not as just a hit you over the head with it, but as to make real music.
And not to put words in your mouth, but I imagine, that's opening up whole new dimensions and looking at a song in a completely different way.
Absolutely. And it's also, I'm starting to put like different ears on where it's like, okay, how is this going to work as a listener or as a vocalist? How am I going to sing over a certain guitar sound? Or if I play something that's very technically challenging, is that really the best thing for the song in this pot?
Right.
So those are the things that kind of went through my head on this. Don't get me wrong. There's tons of parts on this record where I'm absolutely shredding and ripping it up.
Absolutely.
But there's a big piece of it where I thought to myself, I want to create just like my favorite records, going back to Mountain or any of this stuff, James Gang or whatever. These records, they had a feel to them where it wasn't only that singular drive of a guitar. The whole thing, that was the power.
That's right. Absolutely right. And again, when you are shredding, again, it's appropriate for the song. It doesn't feel like you're putting on that clinic, as I said before. I do want to call out the Everything Guitar who says, no cover charge, baby. And on that note, I want to remind everybody, this man graciously boxed out an hour of his busy schedule to speak to you fine fans. There was no cover charge. The only thing I'm going to, and this is my friendly pitch, is if you really believe in this man, you really want to support him, and I'm telling you, this is money well worth vested in. Pick up a copy of this album right now because you're going to keep coming back to it. It's a great record. And on top of that, what will eventually be known as legendary guitarist and musician in our time, and there is hope for the future thanks to Jared James Nichols. You're going to keep coming back to this. This will be a family heirloom, I assure you. Man, let's check out another track from Jared's new album, Louder Than Faith. We talked about this before. Here's Killing Time. Brendan, once again, if you would, please roll the digital.
What's up, everyone?
Another empty road, nowhere to go on my horizon. Another sun that sets on a memory left when we were flying. Now there's nothing lonelier than waiting on another day. We're all the same when there's poison in the well. Won't be the first, won't be the last time that I feel it. Salt on the wound, whiskey on the move, so I can heal this. If pain's your friend, you're gonna chase the sin all the way to hell. Heard what you didn't say, I felt you push away, and now I'm second guessing every question that I never asked. I see just who you are, you're just another scar. Were you real or did you feel there were strings attached? Was I killing your heart? Were you killing mine? Or were we both just killing time?
First of all, man, looking good with an acoustic, theatrical, dramatic track. Feels cinematic in a sense too, man. Great arrangements.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I think we probably didn't get to that part really, but you referred to it earlier. It was this tasty string arrangement that really colors the track as well.
Yeah, you'd find this funny. That video, me and a really good friend of mine, we put that together, and I have to shout out Joe and Lizzie from Hailstorm. That was recorded in their basement. With his guitar. I brought my cowboy hat over and we cut that little video for a little promo. And yeah, that song, it's something that I've never really recorded before, something that dynamic. And if I can't wait, if you haven't heard the whole thing, listen to the whole thing. It just keeps building and building up to this crazy Freebird-esque guitar solo, which was done essentially in one take, which I'm super proud of. And I feel like, honestly, as a guitarist, it's one of those moments that's rare where I looked up and I was like, did we record that? We got that. And we went with that. You know, it was very raw and organic, but it felt right.
Oh man, you're exactly right. This is one again where I give myself another C-, man, because the whole track, that big guitar build at the end, it's just awesome and so powerful. And again, another great set of lyrics. I'm breezing through a few of these things because I want to get to a couple of other tracks that are really, really amazing. But Dust and Bones, super funky rocker, amped up vocal. I know you've worked with him, but it's kind of like you're channeling a little bit of your inner Glenn Hughes, but to 11, man, just absolutely killer on the vocal.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Glenn.
Yeah, for sure. Show me vibey, feel good track as well. Great song. This one to me feels timeless. I think it's going to connect with so many. And then there's Looks Like That, another killer anthemic rocker. I mean, there's a number of them. Just a badass and catchy as hell track. Love the lyric as well. And then we get into one that I want to share with everybody. Some of you may have heard this already. Again, from the forthcoming new album, Louder Than Fate. I think my favorite track, and also showcases a whole new dimension for this guy. Here's Running Hot. And if you would, Brendan, please roll the digital. Yeah, this is the part where they want to take me out the knees again for cutting off this man. Amazing,
Ridiculous.
solo. Man, I got to tell you, I did not have a vision of working out, but I'll tell you what, man, put me down for one of those dogs, man. I'm telling you what, that's my homework assignment. I can't
Dude,
think of
it's
a better thing.
ridiculous. That whole video is so much fun. Yet again,
Yeah,
we were just having fun. And, it's so funny nowadays when you're making content and you're making videos and you're making stuff like that. Everything I do, the only thing I want to do is have fun and have a laugh. And
yeah.
that video embodies that.
Totally does, man. And man, you are universal, man. You got Germany in the house, you got Australia in the house, you got
Awesome.
people from all over. I'm not surprised, man. Just want to give you a quick observation,
Mhm.
man. When I listened to this track before I saw the video,
Mhm.
man, I just absolutely loved it, man. I think it's probably my favorite one because again, man, you kind of push the envelope.
Mhm.
But, the thing it reminded me of was, man, it put me through a time tunnel. I thought it was like the best of '70s glam, and it was
Oh,
like the
cool.
sweet,
Yeah.
the seductive vocals of T-Rex's Mark Bolan. Man, that chorus then just blows up.
Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Y-
absolutely, and, I mean, to me, again, it feels like another timeless instant classic, but again, it doesn't sound dated, man. It just sounds like it sounds familiar, like you said earlier,
Yeah.
but no plagiarism. And you know what? In fact, on behalf of the Rock and Roll Channel and the power invested in me, I hereby declare running, um, that this particular track absolutely is better than the Keith Richards blood transfusion. So Running Hot gets the award in my book, man. They're still scraping me off the walls after this one. And then we're gonna play the outro on this one, but man, an amazing closer. And I have to say, what's great about this album is usually, man, you get the best of the best, the cream, the first 2, 3, maybe 4 tracks. Then
Mhm.
you get a little bit of experimentation or whatever, with albums, or maybe the material is good, but the bar is set so high. Not the case with this album, but even more so, man. Those last 2 tracks on this album,
Mhm.
as good as it was to open up with, it's almost like you saved the best for last, and that's the beauty of this album is that
Mhm.
good. And Pretend, man, is just absolutely over the top amazing, man.
Thank you, brother.
Absolutely. And just morphs into this seductive hook-filled chorus. Absolutely brilliant. And this is a bona fide rock and roller coaster track. However, I just want to remind everybody, man, that you got to pick this album up. We're going to play the track on the outro, and I got to ask you, Jared, man, before they cut me off,
Yeah.
what do you got scheduled for the balance of the year? You're going to be doing some special shows to celebrate the release of this record, right?
Oh, yeah. So the band's flying in just a few days, and off we go. We have some amazing record release shows right here in Nashville, New York City, Los Angeles,
Yeah,
alongside of some really, really cool. We're going to a lot of record stores. Next week, we head to Sweden for Sweden Rock Fest. We're doing Sweden, Berlin,
awesome.
UK. There's so much happening. I just booked 6 shows with George Thorogood in the UK. That's happening in about 3 weeks.
We love
UK
them.
and Europe. Sorry about that. That's happening in about 3 weeks. Right now, we are booking for late summer into the fall for America and the UK for touring. And it's just, there's so much happening that honestly, I need a seatbelt because I'm just trying to keep in the chair.
Well,
But it's going to be great, man. I'm so excited. And I'm just so excited to get this record out to the world and then get on the road from coast to coast, corner to corner, and show everyone exactly how this is going to be intended to be played live. So it's awesome.
so can we expect even more dates as far as the states are concerned?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. So right
Awesome.
now we just have selective dates. Like I
Yeah.
said, Nashville, New York, LA with some record shops. And then going into the fall, yes, you'll see a whole slew of dates for America. Yeah.
Good, man. I'm packing my bags as we speak, man. I got to connect with you, not only because you're a great guy, but man, this album is amazing, and I got to hear it live.
Yes, I'm so excited to say that this record does serve for that live show.
Yeah.
And what you hear on the record is what you're going to hear live. And for me to say that, it feels so great because that's the way it was intended to be made.
Absolutely right, man. And before we let you go, we'd like to thank all the fans for being here, man. And they're all over the span of the globe, man. Thanks everyone for being here this evening. for their support. Those of you overseas, I know it's probably at the bewitching hour or past it.
Yes.
Also, special thanks to Phil. Thank you, Phil, and our great friend Jeff Stevenson at Frontiers and everyone there. 30 years and counting. And so grateful that they have this brilliant artist on their roster. Also, our great partner, Jake Anderson at the Orchard, to our fulfillment partners who get these albums, vinyl and CDs, to each of you fine folks. That's All Media Supply. And also to Brian, Sandy, Tina, Brad, Joe, Kathy, Jenny, Lavani, Sam, let's see who else, Kate, and behind the scenes doing great work, Brendan, as always, from Talk Shop Live. But most importantly, a big thanks to Jared James Nichols for continuing to provide his musical gifts for all of us, and he's taken it to a whole nother level. Jared, before we part company, last words you want to share with the fans out there tonight?
Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Honestly, I'm just so happy that this record is getting out and released to the wild. And I know that everyone works very, very hard in everything they do. And anyone that bought a record, anyone that's streaming the music, any way that you're listening to this music, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because it feels great to connect with you on a musical level. And I'm so excited because I feel like there's a whole new lease on life, and this is just the beginning. I can't wait to get out on the road and just continue to rip it up. And yes, Louder Than Fate, it's all yours.
Love it, man. And I'll tell you what, everyone, just pick it up. And it's available both on vinyl and CD. And let me just remind you again, limited quantity, autographed graciously by Jared James Nichols himself, the man, the myth, the legend. And while you're at it, pick up copies for friends and family, man. Spread the gospel of this brilliant musician, singer, songwriter. It's a unique gift that will last a lifetime. Music is the art, keep saying, and the gift that keeps on giving. We need it more than ever. Your friends and family will thank you for it. And you worked hard this year. You deserve it. So go ahead, pull the trigger. I have it on good authority. This album will absolutely enhance your quality of life. Jared, man, it's been too long, but yeah, it seemed like it was just yesterday. And I'm so thankful for this record and for the time we had to break it down. I'd love to have you come back if we can figure out how we can squeeze in some time to drill down more of the album, because I feel like we only did it half justice.
I'm down. You tell me, Steve. I consider now Talk Shop Live part of my family, man. I'm coming back. Just let me know when.
You got it, brother, man. There's a welcome mat with your name on it 24/7. I'm gonna make sure that happens. And folks, don't tune out just yet. We have a special track for you to hear before we close out. With that, stay safe, enjoy life, and rock on so long, everybody, man. See you on the road, Jared.
Thanks, brother. Have a good night.
You too.